For this example, we have been asked to express as a single log and then simplify if possible. Unlike a prior example, we have no grouping symbols to indicate what should be done first. And so in this case, we basically want to go through and look at each log and see what we could think about doing first to simplify them. Each of these has a constant in front of them. I know that constants in front of logs can be rewritten as the power on the arguments. One thing to be careful of is to not use the negative. So over on the last one, you don't want to use the negative with the 2 when you write it as the power on the x. Later on, that negative is going to be used as a quotient rule type thing. So on here, the first step in me rewriting, I would do log base b of x to the 1/4. Take the 1/4 that was in front, apply it as the power on the argument. The next piece, take the 4 that was in the front, apply it as the power on the y. Keep the minus, but take the 2 and apply it as the power on the x. From here, go left to right, and I'd always do 2 at a time. So starting far left and going right, do the first 2. We see a sum, so we know those 2 logs would combine as the product, a single log, and then the product of the arguments. So it'd be log base b, x to the 1/4, times y to the 4th. And then I just keep the minus log base b of x squared. Now, left to right, do the next 2 logs. Here I see a minus in between. That means this is going to be a quotient. So I take the 2 logs that are being subtracted, I rewrite it as one single log, and then I take the quotient of my 2 arguments. Whatever argument is first always goes on the top, and then whatever argument is last always goes on the bottom. Now from here I have a little bit of algebra to do. Recall that from algebra you have a rule that says if you have the same base, let's say x to the n over x to the m, you keep the base and you subtract the 2 exponents. I need to use that rule here to reduce my x's. I notice I have the same base of x on the inside. So all my log rules have been applied, but now I need to do some algebra. Well, if I'm supposed to subtract my 2 exponents, I need to subtract 1/4 minus 2. To do that, I need a common denominator. The 2 is over 1, so I'd multiply by a 4 over a 4 to achieve a common denominator. So this would be 1/4 minus 8/4, which would give me negative 7/4. So this would reduce to x to the negative 7/4 and then y to the 4th. I also have another rule of exponents that we've used in our prior section that says if you have a negative exponent, to rewrite it as a positive, then you would basically drop it to the bottom of your fraction and make the exponent positive. So here I'm going to keep the y to the 4th on the top, and then to make the exponent on the x to the negative 7/4 positive, I would drop that to the bottom and then just change the sign on the exponent. This would be my final answer. There may be a couple of rules that you need to brush up on. This may be one of them. The other rule that I referred to was this one, and that was that if you have x to the negative exponent, it becomes rewritten as 1 over x to the positive exponent.